What's up, guys? Welcome to the 2022/2023 Game Room update. There is an older Game Room tour on the channel. That's where I go over like all the games in my collection that are noteworthy. I give like a brief summary on why I like it, brief review on every single one in every genre, every system, every console. So if you did want to check that out, feel free to visit the older Game Room tour, which is gonna look a little different. It's gonna look the room itself is gonna look a little different. It's not gonna look as organized. I think right here I had like two shelves that looked way ugly. I didn't like them. So I'm happy I added these shelves right here. This is my PSP section. Zoom into that. Honestly, I love PSPs. The pink one, red one, the white one, blue one back there that I use when I travel. The silver one here, that's on display only because if it falls, I really don't care, because that's old. And there go the PSP games. Again, I'm not gonna go over each one. If you see anything you like, feel free to comment. And this is where I hold my Game Boy games, my Game Boy Advance games. Funny enough, Zippos are the same size as Game Boy Advance games. Who would have thought, right? So you can buy Zippo displays to use for your GBAs cartridges. Underneath that, you got your Switch stuff. This NES Advantage only there because that thing is huge and it's hard to display anywhere else. And then GameCube, small but potent. Huh? That's what she said. Anyway, look, Batten Kaito's Origins, Wario Land, NBA Street, even though that's not exclusive. And Goku just hanging out watching them. Underneath that, the Game Boy section. These right here are the throwaways. The good Game Boy games are in here in these custom Game Boy cases that I made. Again, not my original idea. I actually got the idea from like Reddit or something. Very popular in the Game Boy community. They have like these templates, you just print them out and cut them out and slap them in here to display your Game Boy games. Let's see. Right, so you got the Pokemon stuff. Pokemon and Game Boy, I grew up on that stuff. Boom, Alleyway, Tetris, Zelda Link's Awakening. So that's cool. It's like, and this is actually a tape deck that I bought at a yard sale, and then I just printed out this sticker and slap that on there. I should have lied and said that this was an official Nintendo product. I'm not gonna do that to you. The two Nintendo DS's, which is my favorite way to play 3DS games, because honestly the hinge on a regular bigger 3DS is way too fragile. I hate to open and close those. I'd rather just keep those locked away and then use a 2DS to play. The Game Boy Pocket, which is how I first played Pokemon Red. A friend in school lent it to me, so I needed to pick that up just to get that memory back, that nostalgia back. I know I'm sick. And that's the Game Boy Color and Pokemon Game Boy Color, and the Nintendo Micro, which is the king of them all, in my opinion. Honestly, it really is. It's small and it plays everything in a nice bright screen. It's just I have huge hands, so imagine that. And down here you got the PS3, the throwaway PS3 stuff. Nobody cares about PS3, especially the sport games. And right in front of that, a CRT monitor, a Toshiba, actually a 14-inch Toshiba, apparently pretty sought after, but I have no place for it because I'm already using my favorite monitor, the Commodore monitor. But we'll get to that. We're focusing on this over here first. This is not going to be a long video, but it's shaping out to be a long one. Controllers in here. These are like my quick access drawers. Whatever I need quickly, I'll have in here. And some more light gun game stuff for all the controllers. Which my original intent was pick up some light gun games, have some people come over. They'll love to play on the CRT. No, didn't happen. People came over. That's the last type of game that they want to play. So if anybody out there wants to play light gun games with me, let me know. This section right here, you got the Contra soldiers up top. My brother gifted that to me for Christmas one year. link and Deku link protecting the Nintendo Entertainment System in the box. Because this is the original Nintendo section with the games on the bottom. And they're not in alphabetical order. It goes really sucky, sucky, medium sucky, not so sucky, good games, and then the best games. Which again, I'm not going to point them out. If you see anything interesting, obviously you know what those are. It is what it is. And right above that, you got the Dreamcast collection. Soul Calibur, Sonic Adventure, Time Stalker. I said I wasn't going to talk about their games, right? Oh, actually, Legoland. I think I pointed that out last time too. Amazing, amazing. My first GTA type experience as a kid. Right above that, Sega Saturn collection. The biggest Sega Saturn collection ever. Psych. Oh no. Saturn is super expensive. Stop it. They need to stop with that. They're forcing you to go out and emulate everything. And above that, you got the Genesis collection, which is quite respectable, my Genesis collection. I got all like the heavy hitters. A good YouTuber to watch for Genesis games or Sega in general is Sega Lord, right? Well, that's a great name. I think he chose a great name for that. So anything he recommends, I'll pick up and buy, and obviously the ones that I had in my childhood. The bathroom there, very important. I'm not going to show you that. The guitar here, want to rock out. PSVR in the case. My original Nintendo, which I put out to pasture. It's hooked up right now only to show you that it does work. Hooked up to my Commodore 1702 monitor. That is my original Nintendo from my childhood, even with the chip. The chip right there, that's how you know. The one with the chip. But I don't use that one. I use this one. This one is actually newer. Aside from that crack right there, this one's actually newer, and it works on this CRT. That's not Nintendo. That is Genesis, which we will go over how I have everything hooked up. Let's see, how can we attack this? We should go over the consoles first, and then how they work on the TV. The Wii U here. I don't have too much for the Wii U. Well, actually, I'm sorry. No, I don't have it hooked up. Because everything that was popular on the Wii U, they sort of ported over to the Switch anyway. And that's the Switch, obviously. And then the PS4 Pro, which I'm using right now, really just to play God of War and Horizon. I really don't get too much use out of the PS4 Pro anymore. I need to get a PS5. I don't have a PS5. I don't have a PS5 because I have a PC, which we'll go over. So here we go. These shelves I didn't design them. I bought them I bought them at IKEA, and then me and a friend hooked up some LEDs with a diffuser inside. So the lights are in the diffuser, and we cut holes to kind of link all the lights together from all the cubicles, and even on the bottom ones too. And then on the back, I covered each one with like dry erase board from Home Depot. This way, anybody who comes in to the game room will sign it, or sort of like a guest book. Here you go. So over here we have the Xbox One, PS3, Dreamcast, PS1, Sega Saturn, TurboGrafx, N64, GameCube, Nintendo, and Genesis, and then Super Nintendo up top. The original idea that I had in mind when I set this up was, let's say I'm out and about doing yard sailing or just in stores or flea markets. I can come home, let's say I picked up a game, I can come home, pop it in real quick. Everything's plugged in. I can pop the game in real quick, test it on this TV here. So that's the Genesis. Let's turn on the Super Nintendo, I'll show you how it works. So everything's hooked up to these three switches right here. This is for composite, which I barely have anything hooked up composite. I think all I have hooked up composite is the Dreamcast and the Genesis, and then the Roku. I have a Roku on this TV, which is pretty cool because you can run like Netflix on it still. They seem to be supporting it still. You can run Netflix shows on there. So anything from your childhood that you used to watch, like Seinfeld especially, I'll throw on here, and it has that 90s vibe to it. And then this switcher here, 1 through 4, is for component. And then the S video switcher, 1 through 4 as well. All right, so we turn on the Super Nintendo. What you do, you switch the input. Boom, that'll give you Super Nintendo. And that's on this video, right? So if you wanted to switch it, you tap this. Switch it, obviously nothing's turned on right now. Switch it back, you get Super Mario. And then if you wanted to go back to the Genesis, which I said was under composite, you go back to your composite input, and it's Genesis. So it's convenient, because honestly, I don't have to worry about hooking anything up. If somebody wants to play something, it's ready to go. Right next to the CRT, I have the PS2. That's gonna play obviously PS1 games, PS2 games, and DVDs. So I do still have a few DVDs of things that I like to watch. So the TV that I chose to buy is a 55-inch LG CX model. LG OLED, right? Yeah, OLED. And then, but I originally intended to buy it for the PS5. But again, I'm not gonna really even buy a PS5 because I have a PC already. I could hook up the PC to that with an HDMI cable, and it actually works out pretty well. Up here I have like my rarer stuff, because I found that people were coming into the game room and asking, hey, what's your really cool stuff? What's your rare stuff? So I just put everything on here. I point them this way. That's Metal Gear, the Essentials, all 3 Metal Gears sealed in one box, including the first one, which is cool because that's in like a PS2 box. Persona 2 on PSP, sealed. Funny story, I picked that up at a GameStop for like 20 bucks years ago. It was like pulling teeth. The guy didn't want to give it to me. Persona 1 next to it for PSP. Outrun Coast to Coast, my favorite game on the PSP. An Imperial Walker, look how cool that is. Cool Imperial Walker. This lights up just to get some coolness going. The X-Men on Genesis, not necessarily rare, but they're from my childhood, so it's good to have them up there. That's just me showing respect to the Genesis X-Men games. Star Fox, Zelda: A Link to the Past, and Secret of Mana on Super Nintendo, and an Pokemon Oreo case. Nothing's in there though. Game Boy games, not that these are rare, but this Pokemon Yellow is rare, and it's complete in box with the manual and everything. And then the McDonald's Pokemon cards behind it. The Pokemon starter kit, starter pack, whatever, which is from the original line that came out when I started collecting as a kid. The first line that we all started collecting in 1998, 1996, around there. That's sealed as well. There could be a Charizard in there, who knows? That's what I like to tell myself. A shelf up here, that is my NES Classic with every single NES game, including Japan, in there, ready to go at a moment's notice. But I don't use that one. I use the SNES Mini instead. A lot better because the control obviously has more buttons. So you can put other type of games on there like the TurboGrafx or Genesis. This is my computer. It's got a 3080 Ti in there. I know everybody moved on to the 4090s, but I'm still holding on to the 3080 Ti. I think it's enough for now. I really only game on a 1440p monitor. That's an LG Ultra Gear monitor. I forget which model it is. The keyboard, obviously nothing special. The mouse, a Batman desk mat that my brother gave me. Xbox Elite controller, an M.2 audio interface, and a Tandy computer. It's gonna be my new project. I got some parts coming in. I have the MS-DOS boot disk, Mario Teaches Typing, and Deskmate, which is like the like desktop for that Tandy in the 80s. It's pretty cool. You can see like the interface is different. It's not like a graphical interface. It's still, I forget what they call it. It's still text-based, but it's like, you know, with some graphics on. So stay tuned for that. If you did want to watch me restore that, we're going to restore that to original working condition. Once it's restored, we're going to hopefully throw some upgrades in there and play some 80s PC games, MS-DOS games. There's my chair. I call her the back breaker. She will destroy your back, but she looks pretty cool, doesn't it? It looks like the It looks like a Batman chair. That's why I like it. This shelf right here I added from the last video. You got the N64 up top, Link right there. I felt that these go together pretty nicely, even though that's the Twilight Princess Link, which was on GameCube. Don't judge me. This is the N64 games with a Pac-Man bookend, a Pac-Man mini arcade bookend right there. It is operational. Let me see if I can turn it on. Oh, it needs battery. Oh no, look, it tried. Yeah, see, it's trying. It does work still. And it will make noise and it'll do all the fancy noises. This is where I keep my box stuff. N64. I don't keep my games in the box because I like to have my games ready to go. Again, everything ready to go at any moment. It's a must. And then next to it, like some Nintendo in the box, Super Nintendo in the box, one Game Gear game in the box, 3DS, DS. This is my only 3DS, which I would love to keep in the box because apparently this is super rare. The Hyrule Edition 3DS. What was it? They released it before Majora's Mask. And then some loose stuff there. The DVDs I was talking about. Genesis games in the box. Here's a stool that I picked up. That's the entrance, by the way. So when you come down, you see Batman, a mirror, and the San Andreas poster, and a Godfather 2 poster, one of my favorite movies. A stool for the bar top arcade that I made. This has a Retro Pi in there. Retro Pi 3. At the time that I made it, it was either you picked up a Retro Pi 3 or a 4. Obviously a 4 would be better, you can run games a lot faster, but I really haven't had any issues running this. This is hacked, not hacked, but it's modified to run Emulation Station. So you back out, you got all the game consoles. So somebody comes down here and they don't see a game that they want to play, it's probably in here. And then that's the Retro Bit arcade stick, which is for player 2. So it's pretty cool. Two people can stand here and play 2-player games. Especially if you can move this over to the middle, and then there's a controller here for like PS1 games and stuff. But anyway, so that's Joker. People know I like Batman. They get me like Batman related stuff. Graphic card box, just there. The Tiger Electronic type games for Ninja Turtles. Nintendo Wii U, a Nintendo Wii. Some more of the Wii section, the Wii there. 360. And the original Xbox with Dragon Ball Z DVDs. Complete set. Best way to watch them in my opinion, even though they're cropped. You get the Bruce Faulkner soundtrack still. Moving on to PS2, PS1, PS4, so anything Sony really. PS1 obviously there, PS4. Before we move on, I did want to show you the sign. The sign above the arcade machine does light up. Let me turn this thing off. A custom Badgers game room sign that my lady actually picked up for me. So it's pretty cool, you know? Put your little beer there, play your arcade machine. You're having a good time. PS4 section with the PS Vita just hanging out in front of it. PS Vita, so sad. They should have supported that thing a lot longer. PS1 games, so I try to put them in order of RPGs, JRPGs, which are my favorite games to play. Then you got your sports stuff, your Tomb Raiders, your racing games, Crash Bandicoots. This is actually a recorder I found. It's pretty dark over here. I have to turn on a light. This is a cool recorder I found at a yard sale too. I swore I was gonna buy it to record memos. I definitely don't do it. There you go, I put a light in front. PS2 games. A VGO glass. Shout out Video Game Outsiders podcast and Discord. PS2 games, more PS2 games on top of other PS2 games. I tried to group them together. So Onimusha stays together. Mega Man stays together. Final Fantasy stay together. SOCOM stays together. Underneath that, I love Ken. Ken's my favorite character to use in Street Fighter. And that is the fight pad for the Xbox 360. I'm waiting for that thing to shoot up in value, and it isn't. It's pissing me off. And then the 15th anniversary fight pad in there. And just like some last minute PS2 games that I have no place for. I need to pick up a better spot. I need to get a better shelf to display these, and these are some Office DVDs. This is the sofa where the magic happens. Just hang out here. I hung up some amiibos, the Zelda blanket. I do believe that was in the last game room update, so that's nothing new. Again, the amiibos tacked onto the wall. Not through the cardboard, but just, you know, the cardboard kind of rests on top. There's no damage. And then a very comfy sofa from Walmart. It converts into a bed, which I'm happy to say I've never had to use. I've never gotten kicked out of my own bed. In the area that we talked about in the beginning. And then a little table here. The laptop, that's how I read chat. Things like that. I want to Google something real quick. I mean, I do have a computer right there. Not really necessary. Oh, actually, look, the lights I put up. So with the lights off, this camera does horribly in dark rooms. Actually, it's not too bad. You know what? We'll leave it like that because it looks pretty good. This camera it's not the best for dark rooms. There you go. See? It fuzzes out. So sit right here. Got my notebook here for when I want to take notes on games. Laptop, put my drinks there. Mario coasters. Last but not least, obviously the Sony Trinitron 27-inch. And then more drawers for like controllers, wires. My life's a mess, I know. Over here, another drawer for wires and stuff. Controllers. More light guns that nobody wants to play with me. Nobody wants to play light gun games with me. So there you have it. That's the look at the game room as of 2022 and 2023. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for all future videos. I hope you liked it. See you in the next one.